Say, sick 'em, boys, if Hamas doesn't knock it off. Here to discuss this and many, many other things, the government shutdown and how this is all playing. It doesn't seem to be anything but good news for Donald Trump in particular. Republicans generally, I don't know. Joe Gruters, RNC chairman now, talks with us about that. And Mr. Gruters, we're glad to have you back. How's the party faring through this? The president himself, who's not, he can't run again. He's done. He's on his way out once he's done here, and he's doing great work. He doesn't seem to be taking many slings and arrows in polls. People are pretty pleased with his performance, at least half or more. How about the party at large? How do you see things as chair? Good morning.
Well, listen, we're a reflection of the president. He's our leader. I'm the chairman, but he's the leader. He's the guiding light for the party. And so what I tell everybody is we're riding the president's back all the way to victory in the midterms in a couple of weeks. He is literally, for the first 250 days, been on fire. The president of peace, these economic policies, his overall championing the everyday life for average everyday Americans, and it's on and on and on. We're so fortunate to have President Trump leading our country. It makes my job a lot easier.
This shutdown is fascinating to me, the biggest reason Democrats can't seem to figure out who they are. Their identity at this point is really in a shambles, and the progressive left is outraising all the old guard Democrats by a lot. They're basically admitting we can't reopen the government because it'll look like a capitulation. So we're just trying to keep our rabid base at bay and keep the government shut down. But it doesn't seem to be hurting President Trump, as we just said, at all. I mean, the numbers, even CNN came out yesterday and saying that it's, I don't know where the blame is being placed, but it's not on the president, so that's not working for the Democrats.
Well, listen, facts are facts, and the bottom line is we've been at this now for 21 days. It's the Democrats that have voted 10 different times to keep the government shut down. The president wants to keep it open, but it's the Democrats, their desire to put $1.5 trillion in the left-wing extreme type positions like funding illegal health care. And the American public saying no, and all the Republicans are saying is just vote for a clean CR. Let's move this forward so we can continue to negotiate all these different things. And it's and the Democrats 10 different times now in the Senate have voted no. They don't want to open up government. And yes, the blame is squarely on them. They can't blame anybody other than themselves.
What do you know about the races coming up here soon? We're looking at some races that have gotten some really big attention for obvious reasons. In Virginia, the gubernatorial race. In New Jersey, the gubernatorial race. The Republicans are keeping it tight at a time that I think conventional wisdom is Democrats would run away with it. So are you optimistic about it, or where do you see things at this hour with Virginia and New Jersey specifically? Let's focus on them.
Well, listen, I'm cautiously optimistic about the elections in a couple of weeks, but what it comes down to is candidate quality. In New Jersey, Jack Ciattarelli has done a phenomenal job. I was able to campaign with him last week up there in New Jersey, and the momentum that he has on the ground, you could tell by the crowds that he is popular in terms of people coming up, recognizing him, wanting to get their picture with him. I couldn't believe it, and I've talked to Jack, and we've, of course, been fighting. And when I say we, the Republican Party has been on the ground for 7 months, organizing, helping him prepare for our, protecting the vote and get out the vote efforts in conjunction with the New Jersey Republican Party. We are well positioned there. The polls have tightened, and so I would say that's anyone's game. But what's going to end up, what matters the most here these last 2 weeks is, do our voters show up? So if you're listening to this or you're watching this, my advice is get everybody that you know to show up for Jack Ciattarelli. He could win, but he could only win if we turn out our votes. And in Virginia, those polls have tightened a lot. We're still not as in good of a shape, but I'll tell you what, Jay Jones has really given us a gift in Virginia. What he said, I think, was disgusting, disqualifying. He should have got out of the race for the good of their team, but thank goodness he stayed in, because the Democrats and Spanberger and everybody else, they've doubled down their support for Jay Jones. And the problem is it's hurting their entire ticket. We have some great candidates. Miyares for Attorney General, he's really making a strong push here at the end. And listen, we've been fighting on the ground there as well for 7 months, and so we're doing everything we can to help our candidates be in a position to win. We just have to make sure our voters turn out.
Not putting words in your mouth, but I couldn't help but notice you're not necessarily as enthusiastic about Winsome Sears, the lieutenant governor there, as you might be about Jack Ciattarelli in New Jersey.
Well, listen, Jack Ciattarelli is a phenomenal candidate. He's been on fire. He almost won last time. And yes, and Sears has closed the gap, but she hasn't closed the gap like Jack Ciattarelli has. But they still both are in this race. We're still helping both. And listen, we want them both to be successful. And Sears has done a good job here at the end of making her case. And listen, if the Virginians love Governor Youngkin, which they do, and they want to continue his good policies, they'll vote for Winsome Sears, and she'll be successful on Election Day as well.
This No Kings rally over the weekend, we're going to get into more detail about the specifics of who's funding it. It's very, very clear. There's a lot of dark money that was behind it, a lot of inorganic, inauthentic, as is always the case with left-wing protests. There's always the neatly printed signs. It's mass-manufactured nonsense. We all know that. It was a beautiful Saturday across much of the country. I think normal people were out with their families, touching grass, doing fall activities and other things, Mr. Gruters. But as RNC chairman, as you watched that on Saturday, does that give you cause for alarm? The left is trying to portray it as, look at these millions of people mad as hell, and they're not going to take it anymore. How do you see it as RNC chair?
Listen, these people are just mad at themselves. They're mad at life. Most Americans were out watching college football. I was out watching my kids play soccer and these soccer tournaments. But in reality, it's yes, who knows what these guys are thinking. But their only message across the entire country, all their candidates and all their parties, everybody, all their talking heads, it's only that they hate the president. They hate his policies. They hate everything he does. And that's why the midterms are so important, because what you're seeing right now with the shutdown, 21 days, it's not about anything other than trying to make the president feel pain. And they're not succeeding. You said it right. I mean, the president's numbers have gone up. It's because people want common sense. They want mainstream type policies, and that's what the president's delivering on a day-in basis. These people that are protesting, they're protesting because they hate everything the president stands for. And if you love faith, family, or freedom, we're certainly the party. That's why we're winning. We're crushing the Democrats in voter registration across the country in every state that measures that category. And we're going to continue to crush them as long as they're doing these protests that are when you see the videos and the interviews, nobody even understands what they're protesting other than the fact that they don't like the president of the United States.
Joe Gruters with us. He's the RNC chairman. I was out in Los Angeles over the weekend and turned on my hotel room TV, local Los Angeles news, and ad after ad after ad featured Barack Obama and other Democrats begging Californians to vote yes on effectively redistricting, this Prop 50 as it's known. Vote yes, vote yes. Now, of course, conservatives say no, but there's a huge money push for California to redistrict, create essentially 5 new Democrat seats to try to offset Texas. But before the Supreme Court right now is a really critical discussion about districting by race, which could change the dynamic. Where do you think this comes down by next year in the midterms and House districts? What do you see the math being?
Listen, I think that the Democrats have been gerrymandering based on numerous factors for decades, and they have a clear advantage, and what they're doing in California is only a continuation of that. But listen, the stage is going to be set to where it's going to even out, and law and order will prevail. And I think the Republicans will get the redistricting done in a bunch of these states. I know the Republican National Committee has gone out with the vice president just recently to Indiana to talk to some of their leaders. And but at the end of the day, it's a net plus. But even if we redistrict every state, my personal position is we are going to win the midterms because we have a president who's pushing policies that matter to everyday Americans. It's really remarkable. I mean, it's the first 250 days, he's been absolutely on fire, fighting for things that the Democrats used to champion. Think about the fact that the president now has all this foreign investment coming back to help out our manufacturers in here. Think about the H-1B visas, the fact he's protecting the American workers. The average American worker, the Democrats, that used to be their calling card. It used to be what they champion. And now the president has taken that away. He's championed law and order, cleaning up these big cities. One issue after the next. He's the president of peace, 8 different peace deals. The Israel-Hamas peace deal that you were talking about before, nobody thought it was possible. He made it happen. And so I think based on the policies alone of the president, I think we're going to be successful in the midterms. The redistricting is only going to even the field from the gerrymandering that we've seen from the left over the last couple of decades. I do think it's going to happen. I think it will be positive for Republicans. And yes, listen, the incumbent party is 2-39 in off-cycle elections. But I think that because of the president's policies, I think we're in the best possible position to buck the trends and to actually be successful in the midterms.
Got it. Joe Gruters, RNC chair. You're always welcome back, sir. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
And thanks to our